Welcome to our podcast, episode 112 on a story time. Actually, gonna do, I guess, something a little bit different in this episode. Um, and I guess talk about me more properly by, I guess telling some tales of my life, you know, I guess the tale of my life. So yeah. So I guess let's begin first by acknowledging something that I like, kinda, hid, from, which was you know, me, doing an episode where like I had a premonition that I don't know why I had this premonition, but it never came true. Is that my old friend Alana would, see one of my videos, and I guess in a way, you know, you know, I said, how much, she meant to me, and you know, that's a hard thing, I guess. I never was able to say that in person, but I just sort of, hid from that and pretended, I never did that. And that video was one of the To Be Human videos, but before the To Be Human podcast. But yeah, so I guess that's awkward, that'll forever be, in one of my videos, but, hid from that, so I might as well, no longer hide from that and address that, I guess. You know, I don't know why I thought that would happen, when the internet is so large, but, it's a thing I did, and, and it's the very reason why, why Rebecca's other names is, Alana, and, why I did that in, the first episode of, the Our podcast, going way back, in the Our podcast's history, but, yeah. But anyway, let's start at the beginning. Now I've addressed that, um, I was a wee little child, wee little boy, um, and I have some very odd tendencies, like walking into polls, um, making up my own like imaginary games, like an imaginary maze thing, um, and I was an odd kid, Yeah, again, I have autism, so you know, definitely would explain a lot of my, I guess, odd behavior. But yeah, during my life, I, made odd decisions, like, you know, having a break from a friend only to, be friends with them again, like after a whole year. And during that year, I made a new friend, but also, had that incident where I was, you know, kind of, the child version of, sexism, where it's like, I don't want to be a girl, being, the dumb 10-year-old me, I don't want to be a girl and whatever, you know. So, yeah. So they were calling, me Sabrina because my name's Sebastian, so closest equivalent, I guess, you know, for, genderizing, names, where some names are more male leaning or, female leaning. So, yeah. But either way, you know, I should have reacted, but yeah, again, I was 10, didn't know any better. And, they should have, bullied me in the first place. So, mistakes on all sides. And I accidentally kicked a friend. Yeah, again, I've told this tale 1,000 times, but yeah. And then, so yeah, that was, a mistake. Probably, the first, you know, sort of mistake of my life, even though it was a equal, opportunity mistake because, you know, they shouldn't bully me, so, mistakes on all sides. But, you know, I'll own up to, my own failures. But yeah, again, I was 10. I was a child. So, you know, it's a small mistake, not like a big one. Although I would make kind of bigger one very soon after. Yeah, again, I would leave my friend Daniel, and we would have a break and then be friends again in grade five. But I made a friend with Elsie, and you know stopped really being a friend with her, and that was wrong. So the trend of me leaving friends, which we'll get back to. But yeah, so eventually, you know, I had my first crush, um, and at grade six, um, trust that person that bullied me with the information that I had a crush on them, and they told them that I had a you know crush on them, and it was awkward, and yeah, yikes. And also in grade six, an old friend became an enemy because we were friends like all the way back in like prep, and yeah, they then became an enemy because they sort of like, I guess, took control of the group, and yeah. Oh yeah, and I didn't even mention, um, my bullies, even though they weren't really bullies, like one kid older than me just asked the same question again and again, like, and the question was, "What is your story?" Which somehow led me to, you know, I don't know how and why, but my heart was like hurting, and that somehow led to me, discovering, I had autism. Yeah, again, my memory isn't perfect, so I can't remember exactly what happened, but I remember, certain things. But yeah, and my other sort of bullies were three kids younger than me. Have it both ways. Someone older than me and someone uh, younger than me. Well, three people younger than me trying to bully me. That's part of my life that I'll have to remember forever. Luckily, I had a foolproof uh, you know, thing to beat them because they were kind of the fools, and I was, I guess, the fooler, pretending that there was a bee. Anytime they tried to show up to, bully me, and that always worked for some reason. you know, you know, like I had my revenge, I suppose, by tricking them. So yeah, the bullies were beat by the bee that didn't even exist. There was no B. It was Schrodinger's B. you know, I feel like the first time, like to come up with the idea, I feel like there was an actual B. Like, unless I just came up with it on my own, but I feel like that was the thing. But yeah. But yeah, eventually, time moved on into high school, which, at first, high school, you know, was kind of lonely for me because my one friend, had kind of, you know, became my not really friend, and, you know, despite, trying to salvage, the friendship with my old best friend, like after what happened in grade six, thanks to Christy, you know, it's, you know, sad that relationships are, you know, it would take a long time before we would actually be sort of friends again. Although, we would never be best friends again after what had happened, so yeah. So yeah. But, time moves on. Eventually I would have friends, but, eventually, like, um, and even, all friends like Alana, again, kind of awkward, you know, you know, to have, that thing, continuing to exist on the internet, but, I'll stand by, keeping all my content, unedited unless I really need to. Like, I'll only open up the YouTube app if I really need to. Like, if someone, says the N word, salt in the wound, after, what happened, uh, which, it's still ongoing for me currently when I'm, recording this. It's only February and it'll take it till like April before I can return to normal. Uh, pain. It's almost March now, so yeah, it's almost 2 months down, I suppose, but still, it's going to take a lot of time. But yeah, that one person, that one kid that said the N word, god damn it, god damn them, god damn them. They got me a YouTube, warning, which, at least it's not a YouTube strike, but still, it sucks, it sucks, it sucks. But yeah, yeah, um, anyway, high school, would, be friends with people, and all the friends, but eventually, my group of friends, that I would mainly stick with would get a lot bigger, and due to my social anxiety, like, it made it hard to talk to anyone, so, um, you know, eventually, I was a part of the group, but, no one stayed my friends, in the end of the day, technically, like, like, still friends with a few of them technically on Steam, but, I haven't messaged them in, like, years, at this point, like, now it's 2024, so last time probably messaged them would have been 2020, so it's It's like 4 years at this point. It's been a long time. Uh, so yeah, so yeah, not really, you know, like it's not like I'm not friends with them, not like they're my mortal enemies or something. Just it's like they're there, they exist, but probably never gonna interact with them ever again. So yeah. So I could unfriend them, but then again, there's always the chance. But you know, it's kind of complicated. Once you're no longer really friends with anyone, but you never really ended on bad terms with them. So it's just like silence forever until one or the other dies, and that's I guess how it goes. You know. So yeah. But yeah, yeah, but yeah, high school didn't really have as much to it, like not really as many stories. And then we start to reach the present, I suppose, or the last few years, the years that are clearly documented by my YouTube channel. Not really my Twitch because screw Twitch for only allowing 7 days. It used to be 14. It used to be 14 when I started this. I can remember back then when it used to be 14 days. No more. Now you have to be an affiliate for that. God damn. I'm never gonna reach affiliate. It's never going to happen. Like, I've kind of given up on reaching that goal. Like, the trying to get 3 consistent viewers is impossible. Like by any metrics, it is impossible. It's like an impossible task. Like, I would need to be actually like hundreds of followers, you know, maybe even 1,000 followers to even get close to it, that goal. So, you know, I'm just gonna, not worry about it. Like, it's not, I guess my, you know, I guess, you know, main goal. I'm, more focused, I guess, for YouTube goals. Hopefully eventually 500 at least. I'm really hoping, but I don't think I'll hit it quite easily, to be honest. Like, yeah, again, the thing I do with, having a character as an ongoing, story, um, you know, it's kind of niche. Like, not too niche. I mean, there's other RP, you know, there's probably other RP, channels, just I've never come across any myself, other than those that are already mimicking off established ideas, like one that's um, mimicking off Half-Life VR, but they are self-aware. Actually, two. I've seen 2 channels that uh, do that. Both are uh, definitely one's better than the other, but both of them are actually pretty decent. Like there's actually some quality behind it. So even though it's the same formula, um, they're actually both pretty good. one where it's like the civilians are self-aware, um, one where the other channel has the Metro cops, but they're competent. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those two series develop. I definitely like the civilians one a lot more. Um, Not that the Metro Cop one's bad, just it's just personal preference. But yeah, definitely go check those out, I suppose. Um, so yeah, but, yeah. Anyway, let's actually, uh, but yeah, 500 or 1,000. Those are my goals, my YouTube goals. So yeah, and obviously 500 plus everything else I need to achieve. But guess we'll see. You know, I wonder if the reason why my YouTube growth, I guess, has kind of slowed down is because of that warning. Like, because I am slowly growing. It's not like it's going to be an instant process. Just I felt like I was growing pretty fast before, the warning, and now it's like really, really slow, and I've actually been losing a couple of subs, so yeah. I feel like it's a warning, probably somewhat, messing, it's a part of the algorithm, whatever, so I guess it stopped, me reaching my goals, I suppose. So yeah, kinda sucks. But problems of a YouTuber, the platform's never gonna be perfect. No matter how many improvements there may or may not be in the future, it'll never be a perfect system. And, people can find ways to exploit it so, things can get better or worse, on a dime. So yeah. So guess only time will tell. But yeah, let's actually talk about, leading up to the present. So obviously 2020, end of 2020 would be, me returning to VR chat, which, would spur upon, Rogers, me eventually, streaming and doing YouTube, and it spurred on, everything, you know, both the good and the bad, It made me into a more mature person because, you know, up until that point, all I had to really worry about was school. So I was relatively, I guess, sheltered from, you know, the real world and, you know, everything, that can go on and, you know, the weight of the world hadn't quite hit. So that would, lead me to the mistake of, no longer being friends with X Gene. So, that was one of my mistakes, I guess same with, Joker, but, Joker, yeah, again, it was more impatience, and yeah, again, I have no idea how old they were. So they probably, you know, were more mature than, the regular among us kids, but not mature enough to, you know, understand me. So yeah, again, I suspect they were, a young teenager. But then again, I wasn't much more mature at, you know, the time either. Just my immaturity was in a more different way, that I was more sheltered and hadn't really seen the full extent of the world, and you know, it would take time for that barrier to be broken down by, you know, VR chat and, you know, actually, you know, doing uni, and then eventually with, you know, the loss of Rogers, all that in combination, you know, would, you know, break down the walls and eventually, you know, share, you know, my old self, and I would start to become, you know, me, you know, the current me, the me that, you know, is more mature and, you know, realizes a lot of these problems in the world and wants to do, you know, more to help. That's why I do, you know, my To Be Human podcast. You know, you know, it's spurred on, you know, why I care so much, you know, about, you know, you know, not forgetting about the past, definitely one. Um, you know, always remember where you came from. Two, you know, me, you know, wanting to talk about, you know, the more serious topics through the scope of my To Be Human podcast. Even if I don't do it as commonly as, you know, the Our podcast, still I want, you know, do it to, you know, I guess just help, you know, whether it's, you know, a small help or a big help, but it doesn't really matter. As long as it helps someone, that's the whole point of it, you know. As long as it helps someone. But, you know, maybe it won't make any difference at all. Maybe it will never make any difference, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm certainly going to keep trying no matter what. No matter what, through thick and thin, I will try. Because what's the point of life if you don't try? Because even though life may seem pointless at times, I'm going to try just to help, you know, that, you know, one person that really needs it. You know? So, yeah, that's all I can really do. But yeah, that's my life so far, and, you know, that's a bit more on me, you know, the wacky person I am, you know. And again, I'm definitely not normal by any standard, but, you know, maybe that, you know, allows me to be in the perfect position to do something, I guess. The fact that I'm, you know, not really normal, and also, you know, an underdog, I suppose, you know, you know, I'll make my own path, you know. I will try and, you know, help however I can, you know, just like Michael, because, you know, me and Michael, you know, I guess oddly similar in, I guess, a few ways. I mean, he's literally, you know, you know, based on literal certain parts of me, like, but, you know, there's a lot, I guess, different to Michael, like, you know, Michael actually, you know, most of the time has confidence and, you know, is a leader and all that, where, you know, those things are a bit harder for me. But then again, I guess I have, you know, taken lead, you know, with this story, and you know, when it comes to doing stuff, with my friends story wise, it's often me at the helm, these days, you know, I've taken, you know, the lead as captain of the ship. And it's, no longer, me just following, but, actually trying to do something of my own, because when it started, it was, just me following Kim, doing Rogers, having fun. But then I started to slowly create my own thing, and eventually, I created this whole huge world. 2,000 videos later, you know, many characters, and, an intertwining multiverse of stuff. And, you know, I guess becoming, the master of many worlds. And soon Michael will, do the same. We're both, I guess, going through our own hero's journey, which, was definitely, unintentional on my part, that Michael's story structure just happened to perfectly line up with, you know, the hero's journey, but I guess it's fitting, You know, he's the hero of the story, Michael J. Anderson. You know, he is the one that will inevitably become, you know, the master of many worlds, quite literally. He will be the Aeon to, you know, you know, restore the balance between the light and the dark. He will truthfully be, you know, you know, I guess the chosen one. He actually will, make certain there's a balance between the sides, because he himself is morally grey, and, you know, isn't one to, steer away from potentially doing risky or even dangerous things to get results. But he is definitely a lot better than the Foundation. Like, he knows, you know, what risks are worth it and what's potentially going too far. So, yeah. Compared to the Foundation, it's definitely a lot better being morally grey than the Foundation ever was, because they often lean too much into the, darker stuff. But Michael actually maintains, a good balance, and generally wants to help, I guess, the Living Darkness, despite, how much the Living Darkness pushes back. In the end, is gonna probably save it rather than just destroy it, because he ain't a destroyer, he's a creator. I guess in a way just like me. So yeah. But anyway, I think this will conclude, the story time. And there are many stories to still tell, you know, mainly technically fictional ones, but then again, is it truthfully fictional? Yeah, again, I'm a firm believer in the multiverse myself. So, you know, and the weird coincidences all the time, like, it's so strange that weird coincidences just happen again and again and again. And it's like, huh, like, this is weird that, like, some would say it's just a coincidence, but to me, it's just like it's too weird. The coincidences, time and time again. I played Alan Wake 2 times, between main timeline Michael and alternate timeline Michael. While that was still a thing, it's no longer anymore by any metric. Um, because I'm finally past that in the past. But anyway, I played Alan Wake 2 times, and I'm going to have to do the same thing for Alan Wake 2. And back then, I played it, before Alan Wake 2 had released. Like, it's so weird. And I also predicted, Alan Wake being in like the real world, but not quite being in the real like. It's kind of weird, It's weird. Like, you know, I did that episode before, Alan Wake 2. I couldn't have known the story ahead of time, and yet somehow I the same story beats in my own story. Like, even the living darkness itself, once I finally learned of Alan Wake, it was like, oh my god, the dark presence is literally just the living darkness. And I was like, whoa, that's absolutely crazy, and really got me into Alan Wake. And yeah, it's madness. It is madness. So yeah, um, like it is madness. And uh, another odd coincidence that I know is probably going to happen is that I had trouble streaming Alan Wake 1 on my old computer. Like, like, like when I wanted to stream it, like, I had trouble, you know, like streaming and recording it. Um, and now that's probably going to happen when I get to Alan Wake 2, whenever I get it, hopefully soon. I have a plan, but we'll see if that works or not. But yeah, now I'm going to have the same problem because, Alan Wake 2 on the PC is um, got a lot of technical issues, and I've seen, you know, quite literally that, trying to stream and, record it, you know, it is going to be quite, quite a challenge. And I may just have to, like, take my YouTube, stream recording instead of like usually I record while streaming, like I actually hit, the record button and I'm streaming. I don't, download the whole stream because, that usually takes longer to download the whole stream. I just, record the sections that, I want recorded because that way I don't have to worry about all the fluff, me rambling like I am right now. Um, so, yeah, it's just easier that way. But I might have to do that when I do Alan Wake 2 because it's probably going to have some performance issues. So, yeah, and I'm probably definitely going to have to put the game onto lower settings, which is, what I did with Alan Wake 1. It's like, it's the same thing again and again. I'm going in a spiral. It's literally just like Alan Wake, and it's so weird. It's such a weird coincidence, you know. But here I am, gonna be literally probably facing the same issues again. It's madness. Like, how does the same thing repeat? Like, it's crazy how, you know, these coincidences happen time and time again. It, it really does seem like, you know, you know, either the world's a story, or, you know, or, these tales of fiction are actually true, and, you know, we're barely, away from, the real, I guess, living darkness that, you know, you know, if something were to happen, it could claw its way into reality, and the lines between reality and fiction are suddenly blurred. Like a snap of the fingers. Like, yeah. But yeah. Anyway, other than, me doing crazy conspiracy theories, um, yeah, it's just odd coincidences, and it really messes with my mind, that happens again and again. I'm literally on my own spiral, you know. So yeah. But either way, I think that'll conclude, this video before it literally spirals out of control. Very funny, control. That's, another remedy game. But anyway, that'll be it for this out podcast. So thank you all for watching, and peace until next time.